So what we need to make our honey taffy is a pound of honey, a pot with a candy thermometer, a pan with some parchment paper, a spoon to mix it all.
What was that you were saying about the parchment paper?
And I'm laying out parchment paper on my pan. Normally, whenever I'm making something like cookies and I'm gonna do parchment paper for them, I'll cut it so it's just inside. But this, we don't want to get on the pan. We want it to stay on the paper.
I used butter to grease my parchment paper to help the honey pull off of it easier. But I believe that cooking spray would be a better choice for this. Okay, so if you can pour all your honey into the pot.
Okay, but we have 1.8.
That's okay. If you want to use all of it, you can. If you want to only put part of it in, that's fine too. You can just roll it around to get that honey to go back inside off the edge. Set it on medium high, but keep a very close eye on it. You don't want it to boil over and make a mess. But the honey cleans up easily. After it's cooled, just lay a damp paper towel on to help it dissolve. If you don't have a candy thermometer, be sure to have a cup of cold water with a spoon next to it. When you get close to being done, you will drip honey into the cold water. If it forms a soft crack stage, then you will know you have reached 280 degrees. If you are using the candy thermometer, be sure you know where the soft crack stage line is. If you do higher than 280 degrees, you will probably end up with a honey brittle, kind of a cracking candy. If you don't get it to temperature, if you're under 180 degrees, you will end up with a syrup, almost like a caramel syrup. Don't look away from your honey taffy boiling, because it happens very quickly that it can boil over. Be sure you have your spoon nearby so you can stir it down. I used my thermometer at first and then switched over to a spoon. My thermometer has a hook on it, as do most candy thermometers, but my pot was too small to hook the thermometer on it. When taking the temperature with the end of your thermometer, you want the ball of it to be in the liquid, but not touching the sides or the bottom. Watching it and stirring it and keeping an eye waiting for it to reach temperature takes a lot of patience. It seemed to be forever for it to get from the 250 up to the right temperature. But since this is a video, I will jump ahead to where I'm done. I would say it was probably 10 to 15 minutes for ours to reach temperature. All right, mine's the right temperature now. I'm turning off my heat. And I'm gonna pour it right on my wax paper, or my parchment paper. I'm just gonna let it sit there and cool about 10 minutes. While you're waiting for your taffy to cool, you can tear sheets of wax paper about 4 inches wide and then cut them in half to be able to wrap them your pieces of taffy into it.
You could either spray your hands with non-cooking spray or rub them with oil, or you can put a little butter on them. Give me your hand. Smear that in your hand to make it non-stick. Smush it, smush it. Oh, yuck, yuck. All right, whatever you don't use, you can put in the corner here.
Mom, it feels like pizza dough, and I'll let you bet on it.
Okay, now I'm gonna take some of this. Oh yeah, it's looking pretty good. See how it's
Where should I put the butter?
right there. It's fine.
I'm just gonna
Take a chunk.
Well, you need to ask about the wax paper.
Right, that's what I
I don't
did.
think mine cooked enough. Oh. Oh no. It's
Yours is
supposed
so
to
sticky.
be more solid than this.
But we're Girl Scouts, so we make the best of a situation. I used it for syrup on my ice cream.
Okay, it's starting to feel a bit more hard.
It doesn't have to get hard. It's supposed to stay kind of soft, but
Well, no, it
because
feels soft, but it's like,
it's firming up is what you mean. Yours is definitely way better than mine was. And the more you work it and stretch it and put air in it, the like kind of softer the color will look. Do you see how the color of that is different than the color of the edge now? That's the air getting in it, and that's what you want.
so then Miss Mary.
Now I've got my mistake and I've got your doing it right.
It's all right. Yours still might turn out, like if you heat it a little.
So if you think it's cooked or if it's good enough, now you smush it into a shape that you want, into what you would consider a bite size.
Okay. I don't know if I should make like a bunch of
Oh
little
yeah,
ones.
that actually starts. It's really starting to look like taffy.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yes, it looks beautiful. So you can roll it out and you can cut it in half, like make a long Tootsie Roll out of it and cut it in pieces.
Go like this with your hands. Put it in your hands and roll it.
Roll it.
Roll it. Yeah. Put it together. Make it like half the size. Fold it. Now roll it. Okay. Yeah. Very good.
And then you can, if you have kitchen scissors, you can snip it into pieces or you can cut it with a knife.
Second.
Make the size that you want to.
Should I go like?
Oh, now you folded it in half again.
Yeah, because it was getting kind
Kind of too thin. Okay.
Put it on here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's. We're gonna.
I can't,
do-
'cause my
yep,
hands-
hold on.
Should assume it tastes the same, right?
Put it in there.
Okay, so you said put it in here, right? Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And either roll it around it or wrap it around it as one and then twist it. Yeah, just like that.
Second.
Yep, and then twist it a few more times around if you can.
Give it to me. I'll twist.
And we got the hang of it. She got her candy all wrapped up, twisted around, and set it aside, stored in his plastic bag. I decided to try and fix my honey sauce, so I boiled it up and ended up getting it to temperature again and poured it out on to cool. This time I tried to use oil instead of butter, but I forgot to butter or grease or oil my parchment paper, so it stuck to the paper. Definitely prefer butter myself. But the taffy definitely came out this time. With the oil, it seemed as though I had to get a little bit more oil on my hands, even though they were covered with it. It's still stuck to my fingers a little bit. You can see a great golden color as it softens up. I've got my wax paper all ready from before. This time I use the butter. I buttered the wax paper this time before I put the blob of taffy down on it. So I just need to soften it up a little bit more and shape it. I'm mixing it up and pulling it, getting more air in it. You'll be able to see the color change. See how dark it is still sitting on the paper, and then the part that I pulled just for a little while. Now pull off a piece the size that you want to make into your candy. And remember, that's honey that you're using, more concentrated than before. Wrap it up in a piece of wax paper. Put it in the middle and give it a little twist on the top. Or you can put it in the middle and twist each side. And that's it. Enjoy another sweet treat from a honeybee.